Great call. Sally Fallon, thank you so much. I learn so much from you every time I hear you speak.
Oh, thank you.
I just have a quick question about soy lecithin, which is in pretty much every supplement I ever see, and even in energy bars as well. Like some of the good brands that I would like to eat use soy lecithin. What is it, and why is it everywhere?
Okay, well, soy lecithin is something that they get out of the sludge after making the soybean oil, and it's an emulsifier. It helps water and oil mix, basically. Now, for the normal person, a normal healthy person, a little bit of soy lecithin is not going to hurt you. But I have heard of people taking soy lecithin, eating a lot of it, because, you know, it was promoted as a health food, getting thyroid problems. In fact, I knew one girl who almost had to have her thyroid taken out until she figured out what was going on and stopped taking it, and then she got better. It's also probably full of pesticides because it's the sludge from taking out the oil.
Interesting. I never would have thought about that. You got a follow-up, Antonio?
No, I just that was good enough. I just have I have one quick question. I don't know if it's kind of unrelated. These probiotics that come from the soil that like Garden of Life and a few other people use. What is your take on those? Those SODs, I think they're called.
Soil something organisms. Yeah. You know, I think like any product, you need to don't overdo, and you need to do these products in the context of a healthy diet. A lot of people are taking these products in their regular old standard American diet, and I think that's not a good idea.
Do you think, what's your favorite source of probiotics? Would that be from fermented foods?
Fermented foods, yeah. I don't take a probiotic. I get it from my lacto-fermented foods.
Cool. Great. Thank you so much.
I got one of your Antonio, I got one of your Facebook questions I'm gonna get to in a few. Is that cool?
Cool. Thank you, man.
Not a problem. Thanks for calling in, man.
All right, great.
All right, take it easy. See you in New York City, buddy. Antonio and I are going to hang out in a few weeks out in New York City. I'm pretty excited. That's one of my buddy. He has a YouTube page as well.
Very good.
YouTube.com/Healthy Urban Kitchen. He wrote a cookbook called The Healthy Urban Kitchen Cookbook, and I'm sure your book was very influential in that book. So that's the ebook that everybody can get online. I want to get back to soy for just one more question. Trypsin inhibitors.
Yes.
Can you explain what those are?
Well, trypsin inhibitors are this is an enzyme inhibitor that inhibits trypsin, which is an enzyme that we need to digest protein. And when you have a lot of trypsin inhibitors in your diet, your pancreas has to work really hard to produce more and more trypsin to digest protein. So any one of several things can happen. You can not digest your protein, and then it goes in, doesn't digest. You don't get anything out of it. Or you can get swelling of the pancreas, leading to pancreatic cancer. You can get all sorts of digestive issues if you're eating a lot of trypsin inhibitors. And these trypsin inhibitors are very hard to get rid of in soy. You don't get rid of them by soaking or, cooking or anything like that. You get rid of them by fermentation.
Okay, all right. I want to throw a few things out there, like a couple one-word questions, and kind of want to get your take on things. This one's from Ben. High vitamin butter.
Right, that would be the butter that comes from cows eating rapidly growing green grass. That butter is a beautiful yellow color, and that's a sign that there's lots of vitamins in there. And yes, I'm a big fan of high vitamin butter. And the wonderful thing is that more and more farmers are producing high vitamin butter, and it's available through our local chapters. They can tell you how to connect with these farmers.
Nice. Good question, Ben. It's my buddy. How about low-fat milk?
If you want to get fat, low-fat milk's a good idea. That's how they fatten pigs, is give them low-fat milk. If they give them whole milk, the pigs stay lean. And low-fat milk is missing all the valuable vitamins that you get in the fat. Once again, the industry has figured out that they make a lot more money on butter and butter fat if they put it into ice cream. So they take the cream out of the milk and put it into ice cream, and they would much rather you spent your money on ice cream than on butter or cream. They make a lot more money that way.
all about the money.
Yeah. Or whole milk. In fact, the industry has no problem with getting whole milk out of the schools. They don't want to waste their butterfat on school children. They want people to pay a lot of money for that butterfat.
A shame. Next one, pork.
Well, pork is one of those gray areas, and I straddle the fence a little bit because there are reports of pathological changes in people's blood work, seen through dark field microscopes when they eat pork. On the other hand, many traditional cultures where people lived a long time, including the South Seas, consumed pork. It was their favorite food. It was considered a sacred food. So what I say to people is, if you're healthy, pork is fine, and it should be, naturally raised pork. If you are dealing with cancer or some kind of health crisis, maybe it's best to lay off the pork.
Okay. How about bone broth?
Oh, that's good for everybody. And our ancestors all made bone broth, and we now know that bone broth is like the magic substance for healing the gut. It heals the joints. It helps with digestion, helps us assimilate our food. It's detoxifying, and we should be eating bone broth every day, either in a soup or, as a sauce or a stew, or just as a mug of broth.
I like it. How do you prepare your bone broth?
Well, it's all in the book. Very often I bake the bones first. It gets a nice dark color, and we put them in water with some little vinegar and some vegetables, and then you just kind of simmer it for a long time.
Right on. Check out the book, y'all. Let's see. Here's another one. We're the only species that consumes the milk of another.
Well, that's not exactly true. If you give, say, cow's milk to mice or rats or goats or dogs or cats, they'll drink it. They recognize it as a real food. But my other part of the argument is we're not like other species in many respects. What other species builds houses or wears shoes or cooks their food? We do a lot of things different. And many human groups on this planet have thrived on milk, whether it's milk from cows, sheep, goats, reindeer, water buffalo, mares. So it's, you can't say that milk's not good for you. The raw, real milk that these people are drinking, because it's kept them alive for generations and generations.
I love it. Here's another one for you. I get this all the time. I have no idea how to answer it. Hemp.
Hemp. Oh. Well, hemp was traditionally never used as a food. It was used for cloth and for making ropes and baskets and things. And that's a very good use for hemp, and I'm all in favor of hemp as an industrial crop. But hemp was not used for food unless people were really starving. And in fact, in England in June, they had something called the silly season. If the harvest hadn't come in and people had run out of food, they were forced to eat hemp, and it made them kind of silly because it does contain cannabinoids. Now, not nearly as much as marijuana, its sister plant, but there are cannabinoids in the seeds and the powders and the oil and the hemp milk, and I just think it's a good idea to lay off of those foods.
I think it's a good idea to go get some. I'm just kidding. I just want to run through a few Facebook questions for you, and then I will let you go. Antonio's question, he called in earlier. What's your take on gluten grains? Which traditional cultures cultivate and eat them and can tolerate them, and why can't some others? Kind of a big question.
Well, the gluten grains were mainly in Europe. Wheat, barley, oats, mainly in Europe. And those people seem to tolerate them just fine, but there's a difference between what we do today and what they did then. First of all, especially this generation come along, has very leaky guts and doesn't digest things very well. And secondly, we're introducing these grains far too early, and we're not preparing them properly. The right preparation, just as with the soy, these grains contain a lot of toxins, a lot of irritants, and the grains need to be basically fermented. So that's the sour